Hey, what's up, guys? This is a post Battlefield Fight League 67 recap brought to you by Fight Fresh, natural products for those who embrace hard work and sweat, in collaboration with Faber Glass from MMA Talk out east, who offers tons of MMA content in both French and English. All right, without further ado, if you missed the card from last Friday, BFL 67, June 4th, here's a quick overview of how things went down. Fight by fight, detailed analysis. Enjoy. All right, what's up, Canada MMA fight fans? This is Dave Showtime Perron here with my boy Faber, Mr. Ice from MMA Talk back east. We are going to do. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, man. What a night.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a post BFL 67 recap. It just happened. Like I barely remember what the hell happened. I'm sure you watched it. I like to get an outsider's view from watching it at home. A little bit of like it ain't no MMA card if there is no hint of controversy. So we got some controversy to talk about. But most of it was really decisive. So let's just dive right in. Let's go from the first start up to the top, and then let's just cover it real quick for those of you that missed it, those of you that watched, those of you that just love MMA. Clearly, we love to talk about it. So first off, I rewatched most of it. Not all of it, but what was your initial take watching that at home? How was it? It seemed pretty good on our end, but I mean, it's hard to tell when you're so close to the action.
No, man, it was a great event. Like you said, there was some controversy. There's always some, maybe it overshadowed. On my end, though, it's pretty much the only thing people are talking about. I've had some people like comment on the Caio Machado performance, on the Dayan performance, but most of the talk is about the controversy. But the whole event was great. It was really great. We saw some great performances. There was some guys that I was looking forward to see for the first time. Some people that I was really looking forward to see for the second time, maybe to confirm what I had saw the first time. Mm-hmm. And like all these performances were pretty great. So in general, it was a great event for sure, man.
That's awesome. Well, that's great to hear, man. It seemed pretty awesome on our end. And then I loved talking to you before, getting some insights from your guys. So it kind of felt like a little bit of East versus West, because like I kind of know all the local guys, and you gave me a lot of insight. And I guess I was listening to your French MMA Talk in French, and then I guess they were saying that 7 of the guys were training out of Niagara, and I guess some guys are from different gyms, like Cameron, but then he goes there, so like we don't know.
And they got plenty guys on BTC too. Tonight. That's happening tonight. The people are probably gonna have been done when people see this though, but like they had pretty much like 7 to 10 fighters training for like these 2 events. So yeah.
I mean, we're just happy to have MMA back. Having 2 big events in one weekend is pretty sweet. Obviously, the fighters are itching to get in there, and then lucky for us, we got some live action last night. So let's go.
Yes, let's go, man.
So from the bottom there, first fight of the night, we had Damas versus Jackie Mclean. As I told you, that was a rematch from back BFL 64, which Maria won a kind of decisive, it was pretty decisive unanimous decision. Obviously unanimous. I guess that's kind of the topic that we're going to talk about. But basically, it's crazy because Maria's like cute. She's always smiling, right? And she's been training her whole life. She's really good. And then Jackie, like, sometimes when a fighter loses, you get super motivated, and then you're like, that could be the motivating factor that changes kind of how you train, changes kind of how you fight. And it was chilling, and Jackie comes in there, and she looks like ready to kill, and she just didn't mess around, took her down, got the sub against somebody that you just lost to. Man, that's got to feel so good, man. She looked great. She changed camps, did a whole bunch of things. That was a quick fight, but, the only women's fight on the card, and it was pretty awesome.
Nah, for sure, man. It was like nothing really spectacular, but it was just a job well done. Like she came in, took the fight down, improved her position, locked in the choke, like forced her to give her back first, locked in the choke, and did the fight. That's what you want to do in your pro debut. Like you don't have to come in and be super spectacular and land a super exciting knockout, or just take the guy down, submit her really quick. That was perfect, man. Perfect pro debut for Jackie.
Take the girl down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, the girl.
Yeah, but what's funny? A lot of people say like amateur. Nothing matters in amateur. Pros when it matters because it's on your record, and it's the professional league. So to have that as your last fight, rematch, vindicating that loss, that's like you said. Like she was highly motivated. She looked great, and that's the way to start your professional career. So congrats to her. She looked really good there. So hopefully we'll see her again soon. Next one. Speaking of rematches, I told you last time I didn't have all the details, but we had Bryce Goujon, which we know, and then Stu Delerme, who's kind of been MIA for the past 5+ years. 10 years in the making, the rematch. That was 10 years ago. So that's crazy. And then I told you, Stu was crazy black belt jiu-jitsu guy, and I thought he was trying to take him down. That fight was razor close. How did it look on your end there?
Yeah, I pretty much scored it 2-1 for Bryce, but I'm really down with a 10-8. So I feel like the draw is probably a good result, to be quite honest, because there was a really dominating round for Stu. But then I feel like Bryce did enough to win the 2 other rounds, but it was never as dominating as the round that Stu won. So I feel like the 10-8 was good. And
so what round? So I just remember literally I was like, this may be a draw. Somebody won one, somebody won the other one. And
I think Stu won was it the first one or the middle round? I don't quite remember because I rewatched the card like this morning, but I watched one fight in particular like 5 times in a row. So it's pretty much the thing I remember the most. But I don't remember exactly which rounds, but Stu definitely dominated a round pretty good and was close to finishing and stuff. So I feel like it's the good score, and it was really a razor close fight, and both guys didn't look too bummed out too that it was a draw. So when everybody seems to be happy, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of cool to run it back 10 years apart. Like nobody really loses. They both, had 15 minutes of professional fighting experience. You know, that's always a great learning experience. Learning hands-on in the cage while you're fighting somebody. Stu looked in great shape, man, and he took him down. He looked good on the ground, and Bryce never gave up. And like you said, I think it might have been the first. It was like, I don't know. I remember one was so close, and the other 2 were kind of decisive. And I actually was like, I think this might be a draw. Sure enough, it was. Like that rarely ever happens. But then there's kind of no losers. They both get the experience. Nobody gets the L on their loss. It doesn't really matter. Maybe we can have a trilogy with these guys in the future.
Yeah, and then it was a fun fight too.
It was too. And then it was great. That was awesome. 10-year rematch. That was a good storyline. And then we had Johnny Nguyen versus Mike Mclean. You were the one who knew that guy. You were talking about him. Why don't you take this one?
Oh man, what a slick back take at the end when he took his back and he submitted him. Man, I'm gonna drill that. It was great. I was really looking forward to that fight. I knew Mclean was a good grappler. I thought Wen did good. Like, to be honest, he did good for himself. He didn't get dominated before the finish. It wasn't like a complete wash. It would have been an interesting decision, I believe, if it had gone to the decision. But fortunately enough for him, Mike Mclean just didn't want to see what the judges thought of that fight. And like I said, super slick back take in the end. And locked in the choke almost instantly from the back take. It was slick. I'm gonna look at it a couple more times, and I'm gonna drill that in the gym when we get to open up again.
I know you like your jiu-jitsu, so that was pretty slick.
Oh yeah, man.
Because John Nguyen, he's really good, right? So that's a big win, and bringing Mike back to 3-3, 500 record. So good for him. And then next, the last card on the undercard, we had Johnny Youngblood Bra, which I was telling you about, versus Dylan Schellenberg, who making his pro debut had a lot of amateur fights and was kind of underestimated. Johnny, you look at him, he doesn't look that intimidating, but you saw what he did in there, man. He's I told you to keep an eye on him. So how did that one look?
It was great. It was really a great fight. I like what Dylan did too. Like, to be honest, I really active from the guard, always going for the legs, and he didn't really put him in. They really didn't put Johnny into bad spots, but he had to keep him guessing. Johnny couldn't just be comfortable on top and say, I'm gonna lend my stuff, and he had to be wary because the other guy was gonna go for the legs, gonna go for anything really that came across his mind. And Johnny did really good. I was happy to see him go to the 3rd round. Like in a pro debut, it's always good to have that cage experience, and it was a good back and forth. I think he was winning the round. I think Broad was winning the round, but it was not easy rounds. He didn't came in and he had to fight. He had adversity, and he had a super good finish at the beginning of the round. So I think it's the best of both worlds for Johnny Broad, because he had some adversity but still won in impressive fashion. So I think for a pro debut, it's better that than the Jackie Mclean pro debut, which she did really good, but she didn't have the adversity yet. I know she had some amateur, but like we've been saying, amateur, pro, 2 different stuff. So I'll be more confident in Johnny Brown maybe in his second fight, because I know like he can have some adversity, he can have some trouble in his fights, and he's gonna get through them and probably still win. So it was really, really an impressive performance for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a good breakdown. Dylan, I was impressed by his leg lock game because he looks like the throw heavy hand and he wants to finish you, but on the ground he definitely looked pretty good and he rocked Johnny. He landed some good shots in the first, so I was a little bit nervous. And I know a lot of pressure like making your pro debut, especially Jonathan doesn't have that much amateur experience, and a lot of these guys are kind of forced into the pro rankings just because there's not a lot of amateur shows going on. So that's a lot of pressure. Although you're a top prospect, you're going against an experienced guy. But he, like you said, he was tested. He got rocked. The adversity, and to finish like that's great for the confidence. And he's going to climb the ranks really fast, man. He looked awesome in there. So that was great to see. And then that brings us to the main card, which was on Fight Pass, which is great because we can rewatch it. Actually, rewatch this one just this morning here. Taylor Christopher versus Abdul Haddad, which you mentioned was a Muay Thai guy, came in looking ready to strike, looked really good on the feet. Taylor had a really good game plan, took him down, looked definitely like a lot better than him on the ground, did his thing, wore him out, and then like sunk in that slick little rear naked choke very, very quickly. As soon as we hit the ground, it was obvious that he was more dominant and he had a pretty good game plan. Obviously, that was probably it. Looked really good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like there's these type of fights that like you know what you gotta do and you just gotta do it or not do it and make it really difficult for yourself. And Taylor just took I don't want to say the easy route because it's never the easy route. You gotta still accomplish the game plan. Like you just can't say, oh, I'm gonna take him down and come in and not take him down and just
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he did it. He did his game plan perfectly. It was a really good performance, and I'm really happy to see this in prospects because. And we're gonna speak about him just next. But let's say Kevin Bassin-Popovic. He's a good fighter, but he's not gonna take the easy way out. He's gonna grapple the grapplers. He's gonna strike the strikers. He's game. He's game, and it makes for fun fights. But like, he's not always winning. Well, Taylor's just coming in and he's winning, and it's good to see a prospect just come in and win. And just like everybody knew if he took that guy down, he was probably gonna win. He did it and he won, and that's what you want to see.
Well, it's about experience, game plan, right? Like it was like his second pro fight, but he looked really experienced. He's got like five or six fights as an amateur, so he's already made those mistakes. He has a really good amateur record, but that's where you kind of learn, make those stupid mistakes so that you kind of already know that once you get to pro. So that's why we'll talk about your boy in a second here. But basically, implementing your game plan, he knew strategy wise. He's like, I'm proud. This guy was a good striker, and so's Christopher. He's a really good striker.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's like, I feel like I'm that much better than him on the ground. Let's exploit it. Took him down, fully dominated. That's the path. That's a smart decision, and that's like a show of experience. Because a lot of the young guys, you just go in there and then you just get caught up, and then you just want to bang, and that's where errors can happen. But in your pro rankings, you want to make the smart decisions. He did that, and he definitely proved that he was superior on the ground. So great execution of a game plan, great strategy, and then he looked great. And yeah, we're probably going to see him again in there soon. But I would like to see Haddad again on the feet. Obviously, knowing that he needs to work on his jiu-jitsu, but his striking looked really good. So hopefully we can see him again.
Yeah, but I saw him too, like a fight week on Jesse Arnett's story. So he's probably working on his ground game, and if he's rolling with Jesse Arnett, he's gonna get better. It's just a matter of time.
Absolutely. So that was a great way to start off the card, and then brings us to your boy Kevin versus our local guy Nicolas Ouellet, who is from Trois-Rivières but actually lives in Powell River. So now we know he's been doing martial arts over 10 years. He's not just a jiu-jitsu guy. He's actually really good striking. You saw a little bit flashy kicks in the beginning. I felt like Kevin was underestimating him a little bit. Didn't think he was a striker, and he's like, I'm coming in there. I'm gonna fuck him up. And I had a feeling that like this was probably what's gonna go down, and it was obviously a big learning experience for Kevin. He looked pretty good defensively on the jiu-jitsu, but I mean, like, this guy, as he showed the transition, he's like next level, and he's
yeah, man, that was
as a pro, that's his first fight. Like, how good did he look?
Man, like he looked man, I don't know if he looked as good or he looked better than Gio Platon in his debut.
Well,
But
I mean, it's totally different because Gio, like I said, we don't know. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but he makes it look so easy. Like we
yeah,
don't know how
exactly.
good he is because we only see him like finishing guys quickly. So we don't see same as Wallet. We saw him. He has a bit more cage time as an
Yeah,
amateur.
but what we saw on the ground, like that does not lie. Like,
No.
it doesn't lie. He's a monster on the ground, and yeah, he looks like he's got like decent striking. I guess we didn't really see enough of that for me to make a judgment. He had some flashy kicks and stuff, but we know some people that only kick and like don't have nothing really else to their striking game. I don't think it's the case, but I don't know yet. But what we saw on the what we saw on the ground, that was stupid, man. And I know, because I know Kevin, he's a good purple belt, and like you said, he had good defense, but you just saw the levels on the ground, man. This guy was a like really good black belt, and like the only submission I like do not resist in jiu-jitsu is shoulder locks. I don't have great shoulders. Like somehow I'm stupid with submissions. Like my rule when it comes to chokes is we always roll with music. And when I don't hear the music anymore, it's time to tap because I'm going up. That's my rule. But like shoulder locks, man, I'm really not resistant on that, and I want to mess my shoulders up. So just seeing that submission and like just the transitions from the armbar to the triangles to the like, it was so slick. His ground game is, and it's like I want to see this guy fight tomorrow. Basically, he's one of my guys too. He's on the Faber jiu-jitsu specialist list.
Right on. Yeah, you definitely have to talk to him. So yeah, you're actually
for sure, man.
To get him on the French podcast since he's actually he's actually French, so that would be pretty cool. I'd love to hear you ask Kevin. Hopefully his shoulder's okay, but ask him.
I believe it's okay. He told me it's okay. So,
but yeah, like well, that was one step ahead, looked dominating, and then again on the ground we already know. But looking forward to hopefully seeing somebody that can keep it on the feet and see where he is. But he's definitely a top prospect, as you know, like that. He proved it. We've seen it, but we haven't seen that much. Similar to Gio, which we're talking about next. These guys are pretty new on the pro ranks, but you know they're looking really good. So we look excited to seeing them. Gio came in here against Maddie, which I think you knew a bit more about. It was game, like came in guns a blazing. That was a crazy fight, and Gio finished it again like in under 2 minutes, but with the slick little submission. I don't know if you know this, like it was pretty from the side there. It was pretty cool. Just like that, fight's over. We didn't see much, but what we did see, Kevin, what Matt was saying that he didn't believe the hype train, as you saw last night. I mean, the hype is real, man. How did it look out here? Because you know Matt, he's good, right?
Yeah, no, it's really good, and I knew it was gonna come out like this. It's his style. He wants to fuck you up in the first minutes of the fight. That's what he wants to do, and like, man, Gio took his shot. That's why I'm really impressed in Gio, even though we didn't get to see him really long. Like, I'm intrigued to see what he looks like in the third round of a really tough back and forth fight, since his style, you can see he puts power into everything he does. Like, even if he grapples, it's like, I believe like Gio's probably the type of guy to go for a power double leg takedown or something like that. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna go with the slick body lock that doesn't take much energy and stuff. But like, so he's a very powerful guy in everything he does. But man, like, he had some adversity for the time that it lasted. It was really an action-packed 1 minute and 20 something seconds. So like, Gio, man, he looked good there. There's nothing we can say yet that would make us believe that he's not going to be able to go the full 15 and stuff like that. So, man, like, him and Ouellet, they're probably fighting right now for the Rookie of the Year spot. Like, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen. There's Ivan that we're going to talk about too, but I feel like, man, Gio and Ouellet are probably the front runners now.
What's cool about Gio, he fought on the first UFC Fight Pass Battlefield. That was 66, not too long ago. Like, and he finished that early, so he's uninjured. Jumps into 67, dominating finish, uninjured. The guy is like, looks like a powerhouse. He's explosive, trains like a machine. So he's going to be ready for a next turnaround if he keeps showing up on each card and doing stuff like that. And it won't take long till he's a superstar.
No, for sure, man.
So that's going to take us next to the big boys. Our local guy from Toshido MMA, Justin Dogey versus Anton, which you kind of told us about. Man, that guy was like, has a crazy style, eh?
Oh, man, that was weird, but like weirdly effective at some points. But when Justin started to like throw the big right hands, the overhands and stuff, like you can clearly see that one guy is basically a light heavyweight that kind of blew up to 225. And Justin, like, he could do 205, but he'd be a big ass 205. Like this guy's a good size 225 fighter.
You know, he used to fight at 185, right?
Yeah, I know.
85, then he went to heavyweight. He fought Machado, and then he wanted to he used that as a motivation because he was pissed because that fight was so close. And then now you saw he lost 35 pounds and looked really lean in there, and he looked good, man. His cardio was good. He looked good. It was a close fight, tough opponent. Weird style. It was fun to watch. It was definitely unorthodox and different, but Dogey did all the right things and won a clear cut, like unanimous decision. He was definitely dominating, landing more of the shots, more damage, but that was a fun one to watch. Full 3 rounds. Like it was ironic that the big boys went the full 3 round, and then we got a lot of finishes from the smaller guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it was a good back and forth fight. Like,
yeah, it was close. I mean, they both had their moments, very different styles, but that was a fun one to watch. And then that brings us next to the final 4. We had our boy, the Ukrainian, the Savage, they call him, Ivan Hirushuk versus Gordon Cunningham, which you know a lot about. And he's obviously, he came in like ready.
I did pretty well, huh? Gordon with the...
That was a great fight. I watched it. The striking, he wanted to strike. He got what he asked for. That fight was fireworks. You watch that, they're just like exchanging. Ivan's never been tested. That was the best challenge of his life, and it was cool to get that dominant finish. It was a kind of a standing KO, which was sick. But both of these guys were like, oh, we're gonna run it back. That was sick. Like these guys are true fighters. That was really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, man, best fight of the night for sure. And like it's crazy how Ivan, like, I know he's technical, but like if he gets his way, he's just gonna go out there and swing bungalows. Like he's not that worried about being very technical, even though we know he is. Like we know he's super slick, but he's just gonna come in and eat some shots he shouldn't eat and fucking. But like I can't complain. I'm a fight fan. I want to see that shit.
You're 100% right. As soon as he hits you, he comes in and he looks like he just wants to unload combos. He's got a lot, but his hands are low and he's just like got that killer instinct. So it's like it's kind of reckless, but I mean he's that tough. Obviously, you have to fix that if somebody's got like insane counters and gonna fire back. But he landed. Gordon landed some good knees, some good shots. He got a lot in the first round in a bit, and then slowly started wearing. And then, but Ivan was landing the heavier shots, like a savage. When he starts landing stuff, like, and he knew once he smells blood, that's when he goes into finishing mode, which is crazy, but which is also dangerous. Kind of like when Lawler versus Manhuff? Like the guy was almost done, and then like Lawler just landing finishes him. Like that's the kind of guys you got to look out for. But that's the tweaks as you have more experience. Like it's possible. You'd never want to leave yourself so open. But that one was one of the best striking displays. Great fight for both guys. Great experience. Hopefully we can see that one again. That would be sweet. But obviously Ivan's kind of a big deal. He's new, but now he's tested and he's going to gain his confidence. And we haven't really seen him on the ground yet. So he's really fun to watch. So hopefully we can see him again soon.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. That's one of the guys on my list too.
All right. So now bringing us to the controversial.
Oh my God.
All right. So first off,
gotta bring my sheet out, man.
Okay, let's try and keep it to like 5 minutes so we don't talk just about this for an hour. We can do another one just for that. We want to get to the whole card, but I know you got a lot to say. We can do a separate one just on this. But what happened was not only Dario came over like 6 pounds over, which is never good, especially as you're a pro. That looks bad in itself. So obviously that's not a good start. We know that guys are traveling across Canada. It's on Fight Pass. No one's not going to take the fight. It's going to be very rare to be like, no, I'm not taking the fight. I think that the penalty may be 20-30% of the purse, something like that. Guys are still going to take the fight. But obviously it's not cheating, however you want to call it, cheating, this, that. It's unprofessional. It's a bad look. It's never a good way to go into a fight as a pro. It never wants to happen. But when is there an MMA card that it doesn't happen? It always happens. The weight cutting is a podcast in itself. It's a big problem in MMA. Health is the most important thing. But I mean, if you agree to sign a certain weight, you should make it. So that's number one. So that's what happened for those that don't know. So it was a catch weight. And then what happened was takes us to the actual fight, which was very, very controversial. Everything's blowing. I saw some comments. I looked a little bit. People were like, oh, the judges are raw, Battlefield, blah, blah, blah. Battlefield sucks. I'm like, let's keep this real. Like the refs are separate than Battlefield. So it's like,
no, for sure.
The league, for people that don't know, they always say, keep it, don't leave it in the hand of the judges. I rewatched this specifically to talk about it. As I was commentating and watching it live, as we know from MMA in general, when you take the person down, typically the judges will give it to the person on top. That's usually how it goes. You mentioned that Pau has kind of like a Khabib mauling style. I watched the fight again. As I watch it, my instinct was probably that he would have won. That's my personal opinion. I watched it back this morning. The first round, I could actually give to Dario. The one thing we don't have is the fight stats. If we had the fight stats and it said like 200 landed versus 100, that would be, you know how they have that arrow in the UFC? It's like red, blue. That helps a lot. We don't have that. But watching the first round, Zach did get the takedowns, but he actually wasn't doing much with it. A lot of top control, not a lot of damage. So that's definitely, for his game plan, something that he probably wants to work on because that's super frustrating. But he easily could have won this fight. But I watched it. The first round, I would lean towards Dario. The second round, definitely clear for Powell. And the third one, I watched that one too. And then that one could have gone either way. To me, that was the closest one. But Zach taking him down, yes, but Dario landing most of the shots. So for me, and then you told me that you had the third round you might have given to Dario, because most people were saying, oh, 30-27, 30-27. If you look at that fight neutrally, I had given the first, and then you told me that you possibly gave the third to Dario. So there was a controversy. The first and third could be anything. Second was definitely Zach. Overall, he definitely had more takedowns, but didn't do much with it. But overall, I could see where the controversy lies, and I know you got a lot to say. So
okay, so let's do it. I'm super ready for that one.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, okay, 5 minutes. Let's
He's
go.
got 10 pieces of paper for this.
Oh yeah, man, I'm super ready for that one. Okay, right. So first off, I want to say I love Dario. He's a good guy. I spoke to him. He's a good fighter. Yeah. I feel like he did what he had to do in that fight. I did not feel like he did enough. We're not going to speak about the weight. That's a complete failure on his part for that. So, okay, when there's a really controversial fight, what I like to do is to rewatch it multiple times and judge it differently every time.
Yeah.
So if I judge it round by round, like people usually do, like the judges are required to do, my personal score is 30-27 Powell. I feel like he did enough in every round. And why I say that is because the notion of significant strikes. Because yes, Dario landed the most strike in that fight. Nobody's gonna ask any question about it. But if Dario landed strikes on the ground that did damage to Powell in any way, just like an elbow that would have cut him on the ground, I think the whole fight changes. But he did not do any damage while he was on the ground. Yes, he landed strikes, but he did not do damage. The only time he did damage was when he was able to stand up and maybe land some body punches against the cage or some elbows against the cage. Or in the third round when he got him against the cage and landed some strikes there. He did damage there. So that's the point I give to him. But when he was on the ground in dominant positions on his back and just landing arm punches, I don't feel like you can value this more than top control, even though it's right that Zach pretty much didn't do enough with his top control in that fight. I feel like Dario didn't do enough either with what he did on the ground. If he would have stood up more, if he would have landed some actual damage that like caused some like physical damage, a cut or something, maybe I would have been more lenient to score these rounds for him. But round by round, I couldn't score any for Dario. So 30-27 Powell for me on that. Then I scored it minute by minute.
Okay.
Since there are 5 minutes in a round, it's never going to be even. It's always going to be 3-2. Right. So first minute of the first round, within the first 30 seconds, Zach Powell lands an overhand right. Pretty clean overhand right. Yeah. Dario comes forward, tries to land shots. Zach immediately takes him down. Dario tries to stand back up against the face and stuff, but first minute goes to Powell. Second minute, Dario's able to stand up from the ground, but he's immediately taken back down and he's in side control. He just regains half guard at like 8 seconds left in the minute. So second minute to Powell. Then, and I'm going to go more in detail in the first round because I really feel like the first one is the one. I feel like the two other rounds, they're pretty clear. Okay.
So pretty clear both for Powell or pretty clear?
No, minute by minute, they're pretty clear 1-1. Okay. I'm gonna get to it.
It comes down to the first. Okay, gotcha.
It all comes down to the first for me. Yeah, so that's why I go in more depth in the first. Yeah, so the third minute of the first round, Zachary's back in side control. He tries to go for the mount, but he misses it and gets back to half guard. Dario's punching Zach with his back against the face, against the fence. The time he did the better damage, let's say, when he was on the ground, is when he was able to sit against the face and punch.
Yeah.
When he was on his back, didn't really able to do any damage with that. So they're really he's back against the fence, he's sitting, he's landing some punches, and at 2 minutes 28 exactly to go, he's able to get up and then defends that takedown, but Zach is able to get him back down at 2 minutes of the round. So I give that minute to Powell. Then the 4th minute of the round, pretty much the whole time it's on the ground, but Dario lands strikes and Zach doesn't advance position. So I give that minute to Dario, and I give the last minute of the round to Dario too, because like he's able to stand up. That's the time he lands 2 or 3 good elbows on the ground when he's sitting against the fence. He's able to stand up, and then when there's 10 seconds left in the round, he really goes for it, and they both exchange like wildly to end the first round. So pretty much the first round, I give it 3 minutes to Powell. Wow. And 2 minutes to Dario.
that is pretty
yeah. So
detailed analysis a la favor there.
Exactly. So second round, basically, I feel like it's the dominant Powell round. I give it 4 minutes to 1 with a big emphasis on the last minute where he pretty much is this close to choking him out. And the last round, I give the 2 first minutes to Dario, then the 2 other minutes to Powell. And I think the final minute when Dario has him against the fence and he's able to land the elbow, it's pretty much his best minute of the whole fight. So I give minute by minute the last round to Dario, 3 minutes to 2. So minute by minute, my score is a 29-28 Powell, with 9 minutes given to Powell and 6 minutes given to Dario.
Okay.
And my final way that I judge the fight, let's say we go just pride rules, okay? We go pride rules.
But it's not.
No, it's not. But let's say we go pride rules.
Sure.
Pretty much the top control of Zachary Powell is canceled by the damage that Dario does when he's on the ground. So pretty much the fight is even when we look at it pride rules. So we have to find out what is the single defining moment of the fight where one fighter was closer to finishing the other fighter. And it's the end of the second round where Powell is pretty much as a locked in rear naked choke that he transfers from palm to palm.
Yeah.
So
it looked like he almost had it.
Yeah. So by any way I look at it, it's pretty much 29-28 Powell.
Sure. Okay. So sure. Obviously, it's a matter of opinion. Pride rules doesn't really matter. I agree. The closest the fight to being finished was at the end of the second round. Yeah. It's good to hear you say last third round is Dario. Second round is Zach. First round is really either way. Yesterday, top control. I thought it was Zach. I watched it this morning. I swing Dario just by significant strikes. That is probably where the controversy lies. Like, it could literally go either way, depending on how sometimes people judge top control, and they're like, oh yeah, for sure. But damage is also an important part from the top, which it wasn't that much. And then from the bottom, he was actually landing a lot more strikes. So obviously it's a matter of, it's not as insane controversy as people are saying. Obviously the weight cut adds to it. Obviously it seemed like
I think I got the two external factors that really weighed into the decision, to be quite honest. And that's why I really don't agree with the decision, is because I really feel like these two factors weighed into the decision while they shouldn't.
Sure.
First one, body language in the corner. Zachary looked super exhausted every round in his corner.
He looked dead after the first round. He was
exactly. But the thing is, he's not going to make excuses, but I can tell you for a fact that he had 9 weeks to train, and among these 9 weeks, there's 3 weeks he didn't train because he catch COVID, and he got it pretty bad.
Oh shit.
And it was right in the middle of his camp too. So that fucked him. No, he was not going to tell anybody. I know.
Yeah, but he still put in 3 hard rounds, and like I said,
exactly. So
but he never let up.
So the body language, I feel like it might have factored a little bit, but it shouldn't, because when the fight was happening, it was that close, and Zachary was not looking that tired in the fight. He did what he was supposed to do. He just looked tired in the corner. And the other thing that should have not weighed in, I'm pretty sure it did. And if it did, that's just some good corner work, but that's the Dario corner. Yeah. They were super vocal, and you can hear them that's damage, he's only holding on to you, you're getting the points. And they were really working the judges since there were no crowd, and we saw that shit happen in the UFC. And I pretty much think that that's kind of what they did. And if that's what they did, man, props to them, man.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I was just listening to it just now, and then I think it's more in the second or third. You can
when it was really close.
Like, he's just holding you, do damage. The rules are strikes. You're gaining points. He's not doing anything. That's very, very interesting, because you would never hear that if there was a crowd. And I heard that loud and clear. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was very interesting. Possibly, but the rules are the rules. It is strikes. It is damage. Zach did have dominant control. He definitely could have done more from the top. But granted, I mean, we're not arguing. He had the top control. Could have done more damage.
But like my only argument is that in the UFC, like what they show us is significant strikes. How many of these Dario strikes were significant? And in the first round, that's the only round where Powell delivered some ground and pound. And it was pretty hard. That's why he looked so gassed. Like, he gave some good ground and pound in the first.
He did.
So
I agree. He did.
So I feel like if we look at total strikes, it's probably like 200s to 20 for Dario. If we look at significant, it's maybe like 30 to 20 for Dario, you know?
I agree. Significant matters, but say thrown, if there's 100 thrown, which, like, say there's 200 thrown, half are significant, half are just baby rabbit punches. Maybe that was strategy from their corner, knowing they're going to be taken down. And like what Khabib does, he advances and he messes you up as soon as he makes it worse, and he punishes you. What he was doing, he was just holding. And the first, he did land a couple good shots, but he wasn't giving him that space because he didn't want to let him up. But he didn't do much from the bottom. So if he's throwing nothing and then the guy throws 50 like baby shots, they still count for something, right? So it's the tail.
No, they gotta count. I just don't know if like what weighs more than the other. Like lots of top control and a couple good significant strikes, or a lots of good strikes, but that are not significant, and you got taken down 4 times in a round.
I agree. That's why I say never leave it in the hands of the judges.
No, that's it. That's a scary. More you look at it, more like that's a sketchy one. But like for all these factors, it's just not looking good in general. That a guy misses weight by 7 pounds, gets a kind of bullshit decision. So like you got these people saying, "Oh, that's home cooking," that they're gonna, like you said, target the promotion. Or so it was such a great event, but that part is just not looking good, and it sucks, man.
The stain on what was an awesome event, because that's not good. Missing weight is never good. That's the responsibility of the fighter. That's very unprofessional. Looking at the fight itself, as you said, in your words, the third round to Dario, second round to Zach. Look at that first round again and again. If it's that close, it could go either way. Never leave it in the hands of the judges. Fighters out there, you know better. It's a learning experience for both. It's very tough. It's very frustrating. It is controversial. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the judges, they do on the factors. Rabbit punches, no rabbit punches, takedown, no down. So many factors. Not getting into the minute by minute that you get it, but I'm sure you're going to talk to the fighters, and you can do it in depth, the podcast on its own just for this. So that was the only controversy. Everything else was pretty decisive.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Us to the co-main event. We got Dayan versus Cameron. Cameron looked really good, like threw out his jab in there, getting some confidence. And then Dayan does what he does, calm, cool, collected, and all of a sudden out of nowhere lands something and finishes the fight. Boom, just like that. Like that was crazy. That looked so he looks superior on all aspects. You know, it's like obviously Cameron doesn't have as much of experience. This was a huge fight for him on paper. That's what Dayan was kind of expected to do, but there's a lot of pressure fighting a young guy. You never know, right? It's kind of like, you get the sense with Dan, it could be the last dance. If he doesn't make it to the big show, he could kind of retire at any time, or he maybe go. It's like for him, it's like everything's on the line, because it takes one young buck come in and then, like, you know, land something, tap him out, and then all that momentum for the past couple of years and victories is kind of gone. But he did what he did. He looked amazing, and he looks like a beast in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love Karen a lot, man. He's a good good kid, really good prospect.
He's gonna have confidence from standing in there. And
No, from what I saw, I feel like he's taking it pretty well. Like he knows that he fought one of the top dogs in Canada, and man, like it's just really tough not to root for Dayan, man. He's just such a good man. It's a great story. We all want to see him get that call. We all want to see him win these fights. And like you said, how many like 5-0 young prospects at the top of their ability that he's gonna have to defeat before one like gets someone on him. Like he's not getting younger, and like we just all want to see Dayan like have a shot anywhere, like at any good promotion, international promotion, whether it be like the UFC, Bellator, one, anything. We just want to see him have that chance because, man, like he's earned it, man. He's really earned it, and he's a great guy, and everybody's super happy for him, I feel.
Yeah, it would be great to see him somebody on his level, right? Because literally striking, he's got some of the best striking. You know, the guys he's fought, like, you know, it's not a lot of experience, not only in fight times, but he has 10 plus years experience kickboxing and a whole bunch of other stuff that's not even pro record. So that's why he's so calm in there. He's got 10 years experience, and that makes a huge difference in this. But I like the fact that Cameron came in there with the confidence to beat a guy like him. So he's very young in his career. So this will be a big, big learning experience for him. And he's probably going to go on a streak after this, fighting guys that are not as experienced as him, but we'll probably see him again, hopefully in a title contention at some point. But wishing Dan all the best. He looked great. Add that to the highlight reel. He's been on a tear. And as you said, it'd be great to see him, you know, in Bellator, any of the big leagues against somebody like on that level to give it. I would like to see him in like a 3-round war, somebody who wants to stand and stay on the feet and then can manage, can weather that storm, because he's just so patient, opens up. He's so good at reading people, and he sees a little thing and he's like, okay, there it is. Like he's a coach, he's an analyst, he's a fighter. Like,
yeah, no, he's so good, man.
He's like, okay, I saw it. He drops his little hand there. I saw a little opening, and my overhand's really good. Boom, lands it, finishes. Like, it's calculated. Like, that's some high level shit right there. So props to him, man. He looked great. That was a good co-main event.
For sure, man. And we all like these stories, like him, like Tristan, who's got his shot in the UFC, even though he didn't have the best record starting his pro career, but turned it around, and now he's there. So we want to see the same thing for Dayan. He deserves it, and he, like I said, he's such a great guy, man. He's such like fun guy to talk to, always like really cool. So we all wish it for him, man. He's so nice.
He's a martial artist through and through. It's been his life for over a decade. The guy like lives and breathes MMA, so he deserves everything that he's getting. Before we finish off with the big boys, which I know you're pumped about, unfortunately the other belt for Ali Wasuk versus your buddy Suri, unfortunately got canceled at the last minute weigh-ins. Ali was so dehydrated he couldn't get out of the car, and then I guess the fight was called off. Suri was already there. Apparently he was really upset to be that close and to have that title shot. I can only feel for Suri City. So unfortunately that sucks for him. And also health is number one. Weight cutting is obviously always a topic in fighting. To be to that point, to get the chance to fight for a belt and not get out of the car. Oh man, he had to get rehydrated.
Yeah, no, that sucks, man.
We hope he's okay. That was very, very unfortunate. That was going to be the third belt on the card, so we hope a quick recovery. And we all lose in this one, right? No one got
but like for real, man, we're giving the commission shit and all that after like the decision, but props to them for just calling the fight and stuff. I don't want to see a motherfucker pass out in front of me at the scale like we've been seeing in the UFC, and they somehow just let him weigh in. What they're like, oh, he's gonna fall. We don't want to see that shit, like, to be honest. So yeah, just props to them for not letting him weigh in and not letting him go further in that dehydration, man, because like cutting weight is fucked up, man. That should just end, in my opinion. I know it's not going to, but it should just like end. So I'm happy nothing happened. It's really sad for both guys that didn't get to fight, but I just hope everybody's okay, man. And there's like nothing.
He's doing okay. It's unfortunate for everybody, but fighter safety first. I mean, obviously that's the most important. So we wish him for recovery. Sure. Hopefully they can run that one back, and he still gets that opportunity. That's just unfortunate. Just want to touch on that quickly before we wrap things up with the main event of the evening. I know you're super hyped. The big boy. Holy crap, was Larson humongous walking out? I don't know what he was, but he cut down to 265. I don't know what he was, 270, 275, maybe more. He looks like twice the size, and I was like, that was so crazy. I didn't have a chance to see that one back, but I swear on my life, Kaio was out. He landed a shot, and I was like, it's over. He went like this, and I'm like, he is out. And then somehow he wasn't. And then Larson did the spinning back fist. I'm like, he is out. 1 minute, he would have knocked him out. He would have been the champ. He would have been the man. It was like that close. And then next thing, I'm like, holy shit, he knocked him out. Like, that was just absolutely nuts. Like, I haven't seen it back, but it was just a blur, and I'm still buzzing.
Oh my God,
man.
How
it on your end. How was that? What did you see?
Exactly like you told it was, man. That was just crazy. Like, the whole time was like, oh man, like, we all knew that it was going to be trouble in that first round, but like, was it trouble, man? Holy shit, it was trouble, man.
Who thought that Machado was going to knock out? Like, everybody was like, first round, he's going to knock you out. Be careful. Oh, your cardio. Knocks him out. That is literally best case scenario for Machado. That was insane.
Yeah, exactly. He just like survived, man. Pretty much got
how.
like knocked out and knocked back in, Joe. And
Oh,
he fucking just knocked him out with a super slick check left hook, like boom.
wow.
It was perfect, man. It was perfect. And like, what are you gonna do now, man? That this guy needs to leave too. We don't want to see him anymore. Like we want, but we want to see him anymore,
Always
but
gonna see him.
not here, man. What the fuck, man? You just
Yeah,
defeated.
well,
Like there are two guys that are Canadians that you can rank like in front of Kaio that are not in the UFC,
who?
and they're both in one. It's Arjun and Dustin Johnson.
Right. And Dustin Johnson, they actually fought.
Yeah, they fought in like its first pro fight.
I believe
Kaio?
so. It wasn't too
First
long
or
ago.
second pro fight. It was like something crazy that you
It
don't
wasn't
do
too-
in your
yeah,
second pro fight.
It might have been Machado's first pro fight. It wasn't that long ago, but that went the distance, and it was pretty close. So that's good cage experience for Machado. It was pretty close. Dustin, I think it was a unanimous. I think it was a clear win. But nothing crazy. But the fact that he finished a guy like Larson, who's a proven finisher, and that big at his size, as lean as he is, and he was saying, "I feel better than I ever have. I'm lean, but I'm smaller, but I'm more powerful." And he's smiling at this monster. I was like, "This guy's nuts! Like, it's scary. This guy, like, I'm like sitting like 30 feet away, and I'm like, man, this guy's scary. This guy's smiling at him, and then I thought he almost gets knocked out and ends up finishing him. That's literally like a picture perfect finish that you couldn't ask for anything more." But he has the confidence. His coach had the confidence. I'm sure the game plan was possibly to push in the rounds, but if he's confident in his feet and he's able to knock a guy out like that, like how much confidence is that like for him to have going into whatever fight it is? If it's another defense, he gets the call like that one. If anything's going to do it to get the call, like that would be the way to do it. Like you can't ask for a better finish than that. That was amazing knockout, amazing finish. And the kid's young and he's funny and he's exciting. He's asking for it and he's hungry. So only bigger and better things for Kaio Bigfoot Machado would be sweet. All right, final words before we end this thing, man. It was a pleasure. I appreciate the insights. That was awesome. It's always nice to get a fresh pair of eyes and hear your insights. I think we covered everything, a lot of everything, a lot of the controversy. I'm sure you'll be talking more about. We'll hear more about it. Hopefully they can run it back. Sure. That would be great. Immediate rematch. I think everybody would want to see that. I think both corners would be down. It was good for both fighters.
Yeah, for sure. Like, to be honest, if Achilles really leaves, my title fight is probably the rematch.
Yeah, I agree. Let's
I know Zachary wants to appeal the decision and stuff, so I don't know like what's that process gonna look like and all that. So like, but I as a fan, like for sure, I want to see them fight again because it was a good back and forth. I feel like I really don't agree with the decision, but on 5 rounds, who knew like what could have happened?
Yeah, 5 rounds, but make it more decisive. But I don't know, like that appealing. I don't know the process how it works, but if it was that close, if it comes down to one round, if it's that close, I mean, it could be wasted time, maybe just to make you feel better. Maybe it could work. Chances of that working are pretty slim.
Well, it pretty much never works, but
it doesn't. But hey, it is.
Gotta try, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a great showing. Nice to have a lot of fighters from back east. It was a great card all in all. So I appreciate your time, and we'll end that here. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot.